You think younger women smile at older men because age itself is attractive, or because every smile is just politeness. But that is not the real story. Most of the time, she is not reacting to your years. She is reacting to what your years appear to have built in you. Here's the uncomfortable part. You can ruin this truth in two opposite ways. You can tell yourself, she smiled, so I've still got it, and drift into fantasy. Or you can tell yourself, she's just being nice, and miss the deeper signal completely. Both are lazy. Both protect your ego. Neither makes you honest. And honesty is where your power starts. Because a younger woman smiling at an older man is not automatically desire, it is not a guarantee. It is not an invitation to project a whole movie into a 2-second moment. But it is also not meaningless. It can be feedback, real feedback. Feedback about energy. Feedback about presence. Feedback about whether you look like a man at war with himself or a man who has become settled in his own frame. If you need truth like this, subscribe now because you do not need more fantasy in your head. You need reminders. You need to hear the difference between validation and signal, between delusion and clarity, between what flatters your ego and what actually makes you stronger. If you do not hear this truth consistently, you will slip. You will either inflate yourself off crumbs of attention or shrink yourself out of insecurity. Both are weak. Stay around if you want your perspective sharpened and your self-respect kept intact. Here's what it really means. When a younger woman smiles at an older man, she is often responding to a psychological contrast. She feels something in him that many men around her do not carry. Calm instead of urgency. Direction instead of drift. Containment instead of leakage. Social ease instead of performance. He is not trying to pull something from the moment. He can hold the moment. That difference is everything. The misconception is that younger women are secretly obsessed with age, status, money, or some fantasy of the older man. That is the childish version. The hard truth is more precise. She is not drawn to the number. She is drawn to what the number seems to represent when the man has done his work. If age has given you steadiness, she feels it. If age has given you clarity, she feels it. If age has given you self-command, boundaries, patience, and emotional sobriety, she feels that too. But if age has only made you bitter, needy, performative, or desperate to relive your prime, she feels that even faster. Why does this happen? Root cause. Human beings are always reading the nervous system underneath the face. Always. Long before they consciously explain it, they feel it. They feel whether you are settled or chasing, whether your attention is clean or sticky, whether you look at them like a person or like an answer to your emptiness. A smile is often a response to that reading. Not your birth year, not your haircut, not your wallet, your regulation, your coherence, your internal order. And that matters because younger women spend a lot of time around men who are loud inside. Men who are restless, trying, peacocking, proving, flooding the room with effort. Men who are addicted to reaction. Men who cannot let silence breathe. Men who think confidence means volume. Men who confuse attention with impact. So when they meet a man who is relaxed without being passive, direct without being pushy, warm without being hungry, he registers differently. Not because he is older in theory, because he is grounded in practice. That is the first reframe. Stop asking, do younger women like older men? That question is too shallow. Ask better. Ask, what qualities does maturity create when a man uses his life correctly? That question gets you closer to truth, because women do not smile at age. They smile at the evidence of lived order. They smile at unforced confidence. They smile at emotional spaciousness. They smile at a man who is not vibrating with the need to be chosen. Now let's go deeper, because if you do not understand the layers, you will misuse the signal. A younger woman may smile at an older man because he feels safer to be around. Not safe in the weak sense, not soft, not neutered. Safe in the sense that he is unlikely to collapse the interaction into awkward pressure. He does not need to turn a glance into a conquest. He does not need to sexualize everything to prove he is alive. He does not act like access to youth is a prize he must secure before it disappears. He can enjoy the exchange without trying to consume it. That lands. He feels safer because he is less chaotic. And let's be clear, safety is not the opposite of attraction. Chaos is not chemistry. Drama is not depth. Anxiety is not magnetism. Too many men still do not understand that. They think if a woman feels at ease, then the interaction lacks charge. Wrong. Ease creates space. Space creates tension. Tension creates possibility, but only when the man is present enough not to rush in and destroy it with need. So yes, sometimes she smiles because she senses safety, but not only safety. She may also smile because he looks complete. That word matters. Complete, not perfect. Complete, a man with a center. A man whose life is not hanging on the reaction of the woman in front of him. A man who has somewhere to be internally, even when he is standing still externally. Younger women are not blind. They can tell when a man's identity is self-generated and when it is borrowed from validation. They may not say it in those words, but they feel it. That's why this topic goes wrong so fast when weak men get hold of it. They hear younger women smile at older men and instantly turn it into a shortcut, a hack, a fantasy, a loophole. They think, so I don't have to become better. I just have to get older. No, absolutely not. Time does not automatically deepen a man. It often just exposes him. If you avoid discipline for 20 years, you do not become magnetic. You become an older version of your old confusion. Age amplifies what you have built. If you have built substance, it shows. If you have built resentment, it shows. If you have built your life around empty appetite, that shows most of all. That's called accumulated energy. And people read it fast. So what is the hard truth here? The smile is often less about attraction to age and more about attraction to the absence of boyish instability. She is not always thinking he is older. She may be feeling he is not draining. He is not frantic. He is not performing. He is easy to be around without feeling weak. That is a massive distinction. One is fantasy. The other is psychology. And if you do not understand that, it will cost you. It will cost you accuracy. It will cost you dignity. It will cost you your ability to read people cleanly. You will either overinterpret friendliness and embarrass yourself, or underinterpret real signals and keep telling yourself a story of defeat. You will see what flatters your insecurity, not what is actually happening. That is expensive. Expensive in your confidence. Expensive in your relationships. Expensive in the way you carry yourself in the world. Because once a man starts living off crumbs of validation, he gets sloppy. He starts assigning meaning where there is none. He starts reaching. He starts staring too long, texting too much, escalating too early, talking too loud, dressing too young, trying too hard to prove that he is still in the game. That is not masculine. That is panic wearing a leather jacket, and people can smell panic. Reframe it now. Her smile is not proof. It is data. Data, not destiny. Not a green light for fantasy. Not a reason to inflate. Not a reason to shrink. Just data. Something about your presence in that moment registered positively. Good. Fine. Stay clean. Stay observant. Stay honest. Let the signal inform you, not own you. Now let's get more specific about what she may be reacting to, because this is where the psychology becomes useful. She may be smiling because you look emotionally expensive. Not in money. In access. In attention. In energy. Cheap men spill themselves everywhere. They overshare too quickly. They flatter too easily. They react too visibly. They hand over their inner state in the first 5 minutes because they are desperate to connect, desperate to matter, desperate to be felt. An emotionally expensive man is different. He is not cold. He is not closed. He is just not cheaply available in his reactions. He listens before he performs. He weighs before he gushes. He does not throw his hunger into the room. And that creates curiosity. That's called psychological contrast. She may also be smiling because you seem socially unthreatened. Younger men often get trapped in social competition. They posture. They compare. They subtly ask, "How am I doing?" with every sentence. They need the room to confirm them. An older man who has done real work often looks freer from that. He is not trying to win the room. He can talk to the janitor and the executive the same way. He can laugh without seeking approval. He can make eye contact without challenging everyone in the building. He looks settled. That is powerful because it signals rank without the performance of rank. And yes, sometimes she smiles because an older man represents certainty in a culture drowning in ambiguity. So many men now are vague about what they want, vague about who they are, vague about their values, vague about their boundaries. They float. They hint. They hedge. They perform openness because they are terrified of clarity. But clarity is relief, especially to people surrounded by indecision. When a man speaks simply, moves simply, knows what he means, and does not apologize for existing, he becomes easier to relax around. Not because he is older, because he is coherent. Coherence. That is one of the hidden forces here. A coherent man does not create friction between his words and his energy. He does not say no pressure while radiating pressure. He does not pretend detachment while fishing for reassurance. He does not act smooth while leaking insecurity through every gesture. He is internally aligned. What he says, how he looks, how he pauses, how he responds, and how he exits all feel like the same man. That is rare. Rare feels valuable, but do not romanticize this. A smile can also simply be courtesy, social warmth, context, mood, Good manners. That matters too. Because if you cannot hold two truths at once, you become dangerous to yourself. The truth is not every smile means something. The truth is every smile means something, but not always what your ego wants it to mean. Sometimes the meaning is simple. You seemed calm, respectful, easy. Sometimes the meaning is, I feel safe being warm because you do not look predatory. Sometimes the meaning is, I like your energy. Sometimes the meaning is just, I'm a kind person. Your job is not to force one meaning. Your job is to stay grounded enough to let reality reveal itself. That's where older men often separate themselves in the best way. Not by chasing the smile, by being able to receive it without becoming stupid. Read that again in your own mind. Receive it without becoming stupid. That is maturity. That is self-command. That is strength. And strength is a huge part of the psychology. Not gym strength. Not domination. Not loudness. Strength in containment. Strength in self-possession. Strength in not needing every pleasant moment to become a transaction. A younger woman may smile at an older man because she senses he can hold a boundary. Because he looks like he has a life. Because he does not look like he needs her attention to stabilize his self-worth. That creates a unique kind of relaxation. She can be feminine around him without managing his fragility. She can be warm without feeling like she now owes him an outcome. That matters more than most men realize. Now here's the part that will upset the insecure and help the serious. If you want to be the kind of older man younger women smile at for the right reasons, you do not start by thinking about women. You start by thinking about what your life is radiating before you open your mouth. Is it peace or need? Is it order or drift? Is it sobriety or appetite? Is it self-respect or performance? Because people respond to the sentence, your life is already speaking. And what costs you most is when you miss that and go cosmetic. You try to fix presence with style. You try to fix weakness with flirting. You try to fix emptiness with younger attention. You try to feel alive by collecting reactions. That is a trap, a humiliating trap. The younger woman's smile becomes less a human moment and more a drug hit. Then you start chasing the hit. Then your standards fall. Then your speech changes. Then your dignity leaves the room before you do. That's called dependency on external proof. And once that gets into a man, he becomes easy to manipulate and hard to respect. So reframe again. The goal is not to get smiles from younger women. The goal is to become a man whose presence naturally lowers tension, raises curiosity, and does not ask the room to hold him up. Then if a woman smiles, younger or older, it is not because you begged for light. It is because your energy did not cast a shadow over the interaction. Now let me show you the archetype because this is where the message either becomes real or stays theory. The man who understands this is not a man obsessed with age gaps, validation, fantasy, or proving he can still attract youth. He is past that childish hunger. He is not dressing like a costume of his younger self. He is not using money as personality. He is not pretending to be detached while secretly starved. He is not scanning every smile for evidence that he still matters. He already decided that he matters, and then he built a life to support that decision. He has boundaries. Real ones. He knows what kind of attention he accepts and what kind he ignores. He does not chase mixed signals because he does not need confusion to feel excitement. He can enjoy beauty without surrendering judgment. He can appreciate warmth without inventing a future. He does not lunge at openness. He lets openness reveal its depth over time. He has purpose. Not a slogan. Not fake hustle. Purpose. Something he is building that would remain meaningful if no one flirted with him for a month. He wakes up into responsibility, not just appetite. His day has structure. His body reflects standards. His mind reflects discipline. His schedule is not empty enough to make random attention feel like salvation. That changes how he moves. That changes how he looks at people. That changes how people look back. He is grounded. He is not in a rush to impress. He is not trying to prove youthfulness by acting boyish. He does not confuse being lively with being unserious. He can laugh, but he is not frivolous. He can be warm, but he is not porous. He can be interested, but he is not available to fantasy. He can feel attraction, but he is not enslaved by it. He respects himself, which means he also respects women, not the fake respect of passivity, not the manipulative respect of strategy, real respect. He does not reduce younger women to symbols of his own vitality. He does not use them to medicate his fear of aging. He does not turn them into trophies for his ego. He sees them clearly, as people, as individuals, as human beings responding to energy, context, and character. That clarity protects him from becoming creepy, thirsty, or ridiculous. And because he is this kind of man, his interactions feel different. He is easier to smile at, easier to trust in small moments, easier to be open around. Not because he is weak, because he is not chaotic, not because he is old, because he is integrated. That word matters too. Integrated. An integrated man does not have 10 different selves fighting for control. He is not one man in public, another in private, another when lonely, another when attracted, another when ignored. He has one spine, one code, one center. That is rare. Rare is felt, rare gets smiled at. Now ask yourself the real question. If a younger woman smiles at you, what is she meeting? Is she meeting a man who became stronger through time or a man who merely survived it? Is she meeting presence or unresolved hunger? Is she meeting steadiness or suppressed chaos? Is she meeting a man comfortable in his years or a man bargaining with them? Brutal questions. Necessary questions, because you do not need comfort here. You need diagnosis. Let's talk about why younger women specifically may be especially responsive to grounded older men when it is healthy and real. Many are surrounded by speed, fast opinions, fast flirting, fast access, fast pressure, fast emotional swings, fast digital attention, fast disinterest. The entire environment is acceleration. So when a man carries slowness without deadness, that can feel like oxygen. When he listens fully, when he speaks with less filler, when his gaze is steady but not consuming, when his smile does not ask for repayment, when he can leave space instead of plugging every gap, that stands out. And no, slowness is not weakness. Slowness is control. Slowness says, I do not need to rush to secure this moment. Slowness says, I trust my read of reality more than my fear of losing opportunity. Slowness says, I am here. I am not scrambling. That is deeply masculine when it comes from strength. But again, only when it is real. If your slowness is just fear, that is different. If your calm is just low energy, that is different. If your maturity is just passivity with a nice watch, that is different. Do not counterfeit the traits. Counterfeits always leak. The real thing feels effortless because it is the result of a life, not a trick. Now let's get to the biggest mistake older men make with this topic. They think the smile means they should start selling themselves, explaining themselves, displaying value, mentioning accomplishments, hinting at experience, performing confidence. Wrong move. The whole reason the smile happened may be because you were not performing. Then you hear it, see it, feel it, and immediately betray the very quality that created it. You get excited. Your energy rises too fast. Your speech gets busier. Your attention gets heavier. You lean too far in. Now the moment collapses. Why? Because you shifted from presence to pursuit. That's called breaking frame. Do not do that. If the smile came because she felt ease, do not replace ease with pressure. If the smile came because you seem self-contained, do not answer by spilling. If the smile came because you looked different from the thirsty men around her, do not immediately join them. This is where discipline matters. You must be able to tolerate being liked without becoming needy. You must be able to feel possibility without abandoning structure. You must be able to enjoy a signal without worshiping it. That is adult masculine control. And here is what that control gives you. Better reads, cleaner interactions, more dignity, more attraction when attraction is actually there, less embarrassment when it is not. A man with control does not need to guess wildly because he lets patterns emerge. One smile means little. Consistent warmth means more. Continued eye contact, ease, engagement, proximity, initiation, curiosity, follow-up. Now you have something to evaluate, not before. Control protects you from building castles on facial expressions. Now do this. Slow your interpretation down. Stop turning moments into myths. Stop reading a whole romance into one soft glance. Stop assuming every younger woman who smiles is attracted. Stop assuming none of them could be. Both extremes are fear. Both extremes are ego-avoiding reality. Instead, observe. Stay warm. Stay simple. Respond without lunging. Let the moment breathe. If there is more there, it will have room to show itself. If there is not, your dignity remains untouched. Do this. Clean up your presence. Not theatrically. Honestly. Sleep better. Train your body. Dress like a man who respects himself, not a man cosplaying youth. Speak slower. Remove filler. Stop apologizing with your posture. Hold eye contact long enough to show steadiness, not long enough to become invasive. Listen fully. Smile like a man who is fine either way. That matters. Stop this. Stop using younger attention as a mirror for your worth. Stop treating every warm interaction as proof that you are still desirable. Stop showing up hungry and calling it charm. Stop over-explaining your age, your success, your experience. Stop trying to sound younger than you are. Stop trying to impress people with how unaffected you are. Unaffected men do not advertise being unaffected. Redirect this. Redirect your obsession away from, do they like me? And toward, what is my energy doing to the room? Redirect your attention away from external validation and toward internal congruence. Redirect your time away from chasing signals and into building a life that makes signals less necessary. Redirect your focus toward becoming so solid that whether a younger woman smiles or not, your center does not move. Then, if you choose to engage, do it cleanly. One clear sentence, one composed exchange, no performance, no unnecessary escalation, no hidden desperation. If the conversation opens, stay present. If it closes, leave well. That's power. Leaving well. Most men do not know how to do it. They either cling or retreat bitterly. But a grounded man exits as cleanly as he enters. That is part of what makes him memorable. And understand the deeper lesson under all of this. The psychology behind younger women smiling at older men is not really a lesson about women. It is a lesson about masculine presence. It is a lesson about what maturity looks like when it is earned instead of claimed. It is a lesson about what happens when a man stops leaking his needs into every interaction. It is a lesson about what people respond to when they encounter calm strength in a world full of noisy weakness. That is why the smile matters. Not because it proves something about your market value, because it reveals something about human nature. People open toward order. People relax around self-possession. People trust what feels grounded. People get curious around energy that does not demand. The smile is the surface. The structure under it is the point. So do not cheapen the lesson by making it about conquest. Make it about self-reclamation. Make it about becoming the kind of man whose years have turned into gravity, not heaviness. Whose attention feels clean, not sticky. Whose confidence comes from alignment, not performance. Whose masculinity is not a show for women, but a standard for himself. If that is the path you take, something changes in you. You stop interpreting life like a starving man. You stop reaching for proof. You stop panicking around beauty. You stop giving random interactions the power to define your value. You become quieter, clearer, harder to shake, easier to trust, stronger in ways that do not need constant display. That is the real win. Not that younger women smile at you. That you no longer need the smile in order to know who you are. And ironically, that is often the exact state from which the smile comes more naturally. Not because you are trying to trigger it, because you are no longer crowding the moment with need. You are no longer grabbing at life. You are standing in it. You are no longer asking to be seen. You are visible because you are real. So let this reset your identity. You are not a man trying to decode female behavior so you can squeeze validation out of it. You are not a man begging youth to certify your worth. You are not a man who mistakes politeness for destiny or rejection for self-definition. You are a man building substance. You are a man who reads signals without surrendering to them. You are a man who can appreciate warmth without losing judgment. You are a man whose center does not depend on the face across from him. You are the answer. Not your age, not her smile, not the fantasy, not the reaction. You, your discipline, your boundaries, your clarity, your nervous system, your standards, your ability to become a man whose presence says, without noise, I am settled. I am self-respecting. I do not need to chase what is meant to unfold clearly. That is what makes you powerful. That is what makes you attractive. That is what makes your years mean something. Not surviving time, using it, not getting older, getting deeper, not being noticed, becoming worth noticing. If you want more truth like this, subscribe because you do not need more shallow advice. You need clarity that cuts through fantasy and puts you back in command of yourself. Stay here if you are serious about masculine self-respect, clean perception, and becoming the kind of man whose presence speaks before he ever does. You are not the only one rebuilding. You are among people who are done performing and ready to become real.